Hello, everybody. My name is Taurus Love, and this is
Raelia Lewis.
Hi, Raelia.
Hi.
Okay, people know you mostly from America's Next Top Model,
Yes, that's true.
but how did modeling start for you?
Modeling started for me when I was about 16. I was actually scouting in my hometown. I'm from Philly originally, and there was a local small agency who took me under their wing, kind of molded me for a few years, and I decided to branch out. And because I knew I wanted to do bigger things, I knew I wanted to be on TV. I knew I wanted to be on billboards, and I felt like being with them, they couldn't do it for me. So I just started to come to New York and meet people and try to network and submit myself to agencies, and I got turned down a lot, but I kept trying because I knew it was what I wanted to do. And eventually, after 4 tryouts for Top Model, I got on the show, and
Okay.
that kind of jump started everything else for me.
So, how was that whole experience for you overall?
Overall, it was a great experience. I would definitely do it again because it changed my life. I was at the time I was a server at a restaurant in Philadelphia, and I hated my job. The money was terrible, and I just felt like I was stuck. And then when I got on the show, it was so cool to finally like be under Tyra and work on a set and be on TV and see yourself. And I always wanted to do the show. Like ever since I first saw the show, I knew I wanted to be on the show. So it was definitely a dream come true. But then there was the other side. Like, okay, this was work. It was pressure. It was tough getting some of the criticism. It was tough just dealing with the dynamics of the TV world anyway. It was my first time ever really being on something, that big. So I just had to learn how to adjust, and I had a lot of trouble doing that. But I got through it, and I learned a lot about myself, a lot about the business, and I'm just, grateful for the opportunity.
Okay, so after the show, what was that like? B- your life like after the
I
show?
think my life after the show was the hardest part because I didn't win. So when I came home, people were like, "Oh, you're on TV. Why are you home?" and I didn't come home. They didn't give us. We weren't paid. We didn't get any residuals from the show's airing. So we came home basically what we came there with. So it was like we had to figure out individually like how to make the best of this platform because that's all it really is now. We didn't win, so then we were just a platform, and it was tough dealing with the realization of like I'm walking off a TV show where I was on over 80% of the episodes, but I can't get signed to an agency. I'm not really a working model still. Like, what was that for? So I had to figure out how to make it work for me, and that was the tough part.
Okay, so how did you make that work for you?
I started studying models who look like me. I will only look at black models, and to this day, that's what I normally only look at. And I started to see the type of photos they were, shooting. And I started to see, oh, maybe I wear too much weave, maybe I wear too much makeup. So I started to kind of tone myself down to kind of fit more what the industry was doing at the time because I feel like you have to move with the trends if you want to, make it. So then after that, I moved to LA, tried to get signed, didn't work out, and I went to Miami where I eventually got signed. So it just took a lot of me bouncing around, a lot of me, it was all trial and
Just
error.
trying
Yeah,
shit.
just trying things like that doesn't work. I'm trying something else. Then that doesn't work. I'll try that. That works, and I'll make it better. And I just feel like that's how life is. You just go out there and test the waters.
So I know you telling me earlier that you went to college
Yeah.
and everything because a lot of models don't even think about that part of it, and I always tell models like go to school. That way you have something to do while you getting all this rejection and
Oh my
stuff.
God, it's just so much rejection.
Because
Yeah.
ain't nothing like knowing that if I study hard, I do this, I will do well here.
Yeah.
Where modeling ain't in your hands
It's
at all.
yeah.
You could be amazing, like you could be the best model ever,
Yeah.
and if they're just not checking for you, they just not checking for you.
But I don't know. I completely understand where you're coming from, and that's what I believed at that time. But then I got to a point where I still wasn't happy. Like I was in college, I studied mass media, got my degree, then I went to study journalism, and I love writing. I love everything about literature, but like that's not my passion. Like modeling was my passion.
Hmm.
So I had to. I can go to college at 40. I can go to college at 30. But right now, I'm not going to be 21 forever. And I decided to just put what I wanted first. Forget what makes sense to everybody else. Forget what Plan B is. I just wanted to focus on Plan A, and that was my modeling career.
Okay. So so what all did you do after like after the show? I know it tapped your entrepreneurial.
Yeah,
And I
so
remember you telling. I remember you had a T-shirt line.
yeah, I did a t-shirt line for a while. Then I moved to LA. I still was modeling, of course. So I was doing Fashion Week. I did Swim Week. I went to Cape Town for 3 months, and then during all of this time, I started writing my first book, which I have with me, and it's called Trust Your Journey. I'm sorry, it's basically an inspirational book. So it's not a memoir. Most people see me on the cover and they think, oh, it's about my life. It's not even thick enough to be about my life. But I kind of just wanted to inspire people, and not just models, but people in general, talking about how rejection faces affects everybody.
Yeah.
Most people don't talk about the ugliness, the ugly side of going after your dreams. And I wanted to kind of document it to show people, like, look, this is how I messed up, but I got through it. And then if you keep going out there and just, figuring out what works, tapping into what works, figuring out what doesn't work, eventually you'll figure out where where you will make it at.
Yeah.
And people just have to believe that they can make it. I think that you have to expect it. And I feel like they don't teach us to expect it. They teach us to have a plan B.
Yeah.
They teach us to expect failure. Well, if that doesn't work out, that's kind of hard. Everybody doesn't make it there. Yeah, everybody doesn't make it there, but maybe they don't make it there because they don't believe they can make it there.
Well, I remember my mom used to always say, you know, if you've planned a B, you've already planned to fail.
Exactly. So I'm completely 100% against plan Bs. I feel like if you really feel like this is in you, like if you can't sleep without it, if you can look back at your life and feel like if I don't do this, I will never feel fulfilled with my life. That's something that you should be fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I feel about my modeling. It's like everything else can go, but my modeling, that's my baby, and it's something that I really enjoy, and I'll never stop.
Okay. All right. Last question. You get to ask me something.
Okay. What inspired you to start photography?
Um. Well, I was initially a fashion student in college. I wanted to be a designer.
Okay.
And I wanted to be the Black Calvin Klein. And I mean, because when I was a kid, that was the only designer I knew about. I didn't know about any. I had to study to find out about Armani and Vivienne Westwood, Azadine, all these people that I really like. But at that time, it was Calvin Klein. He was the top tier. And I wanted to be the black version of Calvin Klein because he did everything.
Yeah.
So I took a photography class because I wanted to learn photography so that I could sit down with the photographers and I could talk to them in their language and in their lingo and about my campaigns and stuff like that. But I just ended up falling in love with it, and I really fell in love with how instant photography was in contrast to designing clothes, because designing clothes is a real process where, I mean, photography is too, but it's a way shorter process. I could go in the lab at school, shoot it, develop the film, and go home with the finished product, every day. I couldn't do that with design.
Right.
So that it just it like you said, it became I didn't think about nothing else.
Right.
It became my creamy crack.
I know all about that. You can't function. You can be doing a million other things, but like if you're not watering that area, you just feel like, what am I not doing? It's just your baby, and it is what it is.
And okay, if you had to tell people one thing about your experience working with me, what would you say to them about that?
I think it was awesome. I think that you're very creative and you know what you want. But the good side to that is that you allow me to bring some of my wants in. Where some photographers like to control, the entire shoot, and they direct you and they have clothing and everything they want you to wear. You kind of allow me to feel comfortable enough to bring it in my own, creative, part. So I definitely think that, the experience was great. You were very easy to talk to. I was comfortable immediately. Everything was very professional, but it also felt like we were friends for years. Like we just met, but we just vibed right away. So I definitely think that you're an amazing photographer. I think that you're an amazing person. And I had a great time shooting with you.
And I look forward to shooting some more.
Yeah,
I can't
definitely.
wait. So
I would
we'll
love
have to make that happen soon.
Definitely.
Sooner than later.
Yes.
I'm Tara's Love.
Raelia Lewis.
And we're out.